What's up, droners, and welcome to this week's edition of Droner News. This week, obviously, I'm coming to you from set. That's why I have the cool walkie-talkie thing on, and I'm at a beach. But we're still going to bring some awesome stories. But before we get to that, I have some shout-outs for Diego Baca. I want to thank him for correcting me on a previous Droner News where I was incorrect about something. I don't remember what it was, but I do know that he keeps reminding me in the comments, and I do look at the comments. So thank you, Diego. You're the man. And then also, I'd like to give a shout-out to my Patreon contributors, the new ones, Craig Little and Brian Wilkes. You guys are making it possible to do this. So let's jump right into this Droner News. Coming up at story number 1, we have a new Parrot Bebop 2 power drone. So as previously I've talked about, Parrot has a Bebop 2, but now they're putting out a Bebop 2 Power, which is an upgrade, which is pretty much the same color as the Phantom 4 Pro, whatever, Platinum, whatever. The new one they put out that literally just changed the color I talked about last week. So they're putting this out. I personally believe they're putting this out to compete with the Spark because it only shoots in 1080. But it's still a pretty powerful little drone. They're saying that it has an hour flight time, which is kind of misleading. The reason they say that is because when you buy it, you actually get 2 batteries that have an impressive flight time of 30 minutes apiece, because that's a really long time for any drone to be flying. And also it has a bunch of autonomous features, a lot like the Spark, where it's going to follow you, it's going to do like the spiral thing up. It's going to do a lot of really cool stuff. It also comes with the first-person view goggles, which is a big deal to me because it comes with a flight controller, 2 batteries, and a first-person view goggles. So you can do FPV flying, you can do, the controller, honestly, is one of my favorite parts of this drone. It literally looks like an Xbox One controller. I want to get my hands on this and play with it. The cool thing about this is not that expensive. It comes in at $599 for that whole package. Yeah, $599. If you want to compete with the Spark, that's definitely the way you do it because you're a little cheaper and it brings a lot more to the table. So to me, this is a very interesting drone for people who are hobbyists or YouTubers or people who aren't flying professionally but want to have a cool drone that actually can get things done. I think this drone could do it. So hopefully I can play with it. It goes up to 40 miles an hour in sport mode. And the footage from what I've been looking at, it looks really good. Like I have no complaints about it. So I think it's worth checking out because obviously I've been advocating for DJI to have some form of competitor to be able to help push all drones forward. So I'm hoping that Parrot can be that, even if it's taking baby steps at a time. Coming in next, we have edible drones. And this one, first of all, I want to say shout out to these guys. Thank you so much for doing this, so I didn't have to do it. But these YouTubers, Peter Schrippel and William Osman, they just took on a project. They were just like, yo, like, we're gonna build like drone things or flying things out of food. And they made a video that's like 17 minutes long about it. And it's actually really entertaining. I highly recommend watching it. Like they literally, like they start off with like bread and crackers and there's just like all these structural problems or weight problems. And it's just really satisfying to watch them fail miserably. But eventually they get to tortillas and the tortillas work. So obviously this is Droner News in like a really light-hearted way, but I found it really entertaining. I found it funny. And it's kind of cool just to see guys who are really good at tinkering and building stuff to be able to make drones that are out of completely edible parts. One of the most interesting things to me out of it actually was that they were using an adhesive made out of like heated up caramel that apparently was really good. So their points to the creativity, points to what they were doing, and points for being so brilliant to be able to make food fly. So good work, guys. Keep it up. Coming number 3. I actually think this was from one of the original Droner News. This is actually Droner News number 69 that we're filming today, and that's 69 weeks ago. I actually made a Droner News where we talked about Virginia Tech doing some drone testing when it comes to drone injuries. And obviously that test has been going on for a long time, and their conclusions are hilarious to me because it's like, I could have told you that. You could have given me all the money for the test. I could have told you that. And what they found out is that drones that weigh under 2.5 pounds, which is pretty much like a Phantom below, really don't have much of a chance of injuring people, which is a huge thing because the FAA might be able to use this study as part of a way to be able to allow overcrowd flights on drones that are Phantoms and smaller, which to me is like, yes. And DJI has been pushing for that because it's like, how bad can the injury really be? They had like a threshold for that, like is it like a really like, because obviously if anything falls from the sky, it can hurt you, but they're talking about injuries that are giving concussions, like serious lacerations or death, obviously. And these drones had a super low percentage, anything under 2.5 pounds, and then obviously it goes up substantially after that. I mean, they were testing huge 24-pound drones like the S1000. That's really like 70% chance of hurting you. So yeah, that shouldn't be flying over people. But all in all, they did the test. They found out that pretty much Phantoms and lighter, good to go. Flying over people, you're not really gonna hurt anybody. It's like, it might be like, ow, you idiot, why would you do that? I can't believe this light thing fell upon me from the sky. But for the most part, they're they're harmless. I think the most painful thing about a Phantom or smaller is actually the blades themselves when they're spinning. But typically when it's crashing, they're not spinning in the way they're supposed to anyway, so it's probably not going to hurt you very much. And it's a small percentage chance that that's actually what's going to hit you in a vital spot, like your eye, or I guess your eye. That's pretty much the only thing I can really think of. So hopefully this does influence the Part 107. As you guys know, it's 0.55 pounds up to 55 pounds. That is covered by that legislation or that law or whatever you want to call it. So maybe they can up that weight limit to make it so that we can do more. So coming up next, we have industrial drones doing industrial work. I've talked a lot, and we guys obviously, we know a lot that there's drones that work in industry that do a lot of inspections for bridges, power lines, all this kind of stuff. I mean, even the homie Ken Heron did some power line inspections on some of his videos. Check him out, he's awesome. But they're actually taking it a step further. It's like they're actually using drones to hang power lines, which I've never heard of. I've never heard of a drone actually doing construction. Now, don't get it twisted. The drone actually isn't like physically pulling a full power line up to the pole and hanging it there. It's hanging a lead cable that on a pulley system that can make it so they can just pull the power line over, which obviously is going to save a lot of time versus using like a cherry picker or some other way of getting the line up there. So it's a brilliant way to use the drone, and I've just found this really interesting because drones continuously are becoming more useful. And like I say in my intro video, which you should check out, drones are going to be a part of our everyday life, whether you like it or not, and they're going to be finding more uses to be able to make things fly and creatively doing that. And I love hearing about it, so I like telling you about it. And here we got some more. All right, guys, so if you once again go back to our Wayback Machine, one of my first Droner News is I talked about this, it's called Street Light On Drone Service, and it was based in the UK. And what the idea was is that they were like, yo, this is a drone service to provide street lights to people. We're going down dangerous alleys or something like that. You can call a number or call an app, and then a drone will just be like a light that follows you around wherever you're going, so you are well lit. When I first said that idea, I thought it was dumb, because I was just like, how is that going to work? Why wouldn't they just somebody just steal the drone? How long can a drone really fly? Like, while also providing light? Like, how heavy is this drone going to be? You know, just logistically, it didn't make sense to me in any way, shape, or form. I just could not figure out how this idea was going to work. So that company went under, like I thought they would. But now there's actually a independent lifeboat service that does like they monitor 250 square miles, nautical miles, of ocean where they're doing search and rescues there. It's all donations, all volunteers, and they're just there to help people. And they recently got donated the drones from Light On Demand is actually what it's called, Light On Demand, to be able to use those drones that have live streaming video cameras and lights on them to be able to do search and rescue missions, because that's what these drones would be better for anyway. So this is actually my first time of actually hearing drones in ocean waters doing search and rescue, so I thought that would be an interesting story for you guys to check out or hear about, because drones helping people. Again, I love this. More applications for drones that may not be intended for them originally, but they're so useful that they can do a lot of things with them. So there it is. Check it out. Droners, thank you for checking out this edition of Droner News. And if you want to see more Droner News, you can check it out here, because we have a lot of them, literally 68 other ones. Or you can check out the greatest intro video to drone stuff ever up here. And as always, there's 3 ways to support us. One of them is Patreon. The other one is subscribe to us. And the last but not least is to be able to get one of the shirts in the link below, because you could be fly like me. And on that note, you should always stay fly.